Josh Rubin from East West Healing Performance. Today I want to talk about respiration. Now I'm going to bring up a lot of different things about respiration, so you should actually turn the ears on and listen. First thing is how do we breathe? You should actually breathe in the nose and out the mouth. So sit there, rest, and see how you breathe. There's a lot of research to show that kids that need braces and retainers, they're actually breathing from their mouth. You breathe in through the nose because the turbinates in the nose actually swirl air and filter it. And you breathe out the mouth to basically expel air out of the body, to simplify it. When you breathe in the mouth, you don't filter the air because that can lead to bad breath and actually stomach issues. But at the same time, if you have, let's say, food intolerances to dairy, soy, corn, meat, chicken, on and on and on, you're eating foods with a lot of chemicals in it and preservatives, and you're releasing a lot of histamines in your body, and they're chronically dehydrated, the nose gets really stuffy. You ever see a little kid eating an ice cream and the snot's going down on the ice cream, they're eating the snots and the ice cream. That's actually a histamine reaction in the body. What happens with the little kids when they do that, their head will go forward because they can't breathe in through their nose, so their body says, hey, I still need to breathe. That's the most important thing in life. You can live without an arm, you can live without a kidney, but if you don't breathe, you die. So the body always wants to do everything below that system in order to breathe. It's a hierarchy. So the head will go forward to get more air into the body. The problem is that leads to this forward head posture. It overcrowds the TM joint, causes issues in the atlas. It can impinge the occipital nerve, lead to visual issues, on and on and on. But the bottom line is this: you should breathe in your nose, out the mouth at all times. If you're not, you're actually breathing incorrectly. At the same time, when you breathe, your ribs should go up like this, like a bucket handle. You get an anterior, posterior movement and a small inferior, superior movement. That's how we should breathe. If I put a balloon in the center of my gut here or my belly, every time you inhale, it completely inflates. Most people breathe like this from their chest. So they're actually breathing invertedly. Their chest is moving and their diaphragm, the primary muscle of inspiration, as well as the external intercostals, is not working properly. And that's a problem, and I'll talk about that. So take a look at it. Lay in bed at night. Put your hands in your stomach. Lay in your bed in the morning before you get out of bed. Put your hands in your stomach and just relax. Take a breath and see how you breathe. If you have chronic neck pain, chronic disc problems, you're always seeing a massage therapist, they're always releasing the trigger points in your muscles, and they keep coming back. A lot of this has to do with a respiratory problem. So let's look at the muscles of inspiration and expiration. Inspiration is inhale, expiration is exhale. The primary muscles of inspiration are the diaphragm and the external intercostals. They lift the ribs per se. You have accessory muscles, kind of the relief pitchers in a baseball game. And these are the SCM, scalenes, pec major, minor, lats, iliopsoas cervicus. You have the serratus anterior and serratus posterior, superior. Those are the muscles of accessory muscles of inspiration. Then you have muscles of expiration. This is basically the internal intercostals and levator costae. They kind of depress the rib cage. And then you have accessory muscles of expiration. This is your internal oblique, external oblique, rectus abdominis, quadratus lumborum, iliopsoas, thoracus, I said quadratus lumborum, and you have your serratus posterior, inferior. Those are the accessory muscles of respiration, just like the relief pitches. So your abdominals actually work antagonistically and synergistically with respiration. That's why the diaphragm is actually a part of respiration, but it's actually a part of the inner unit or the core of your body because of what it does and it attaches. So think about this. If you breathe correctly at rest, the only thing that should move is kind of, you know, your ribs and, let's say, your belly per se. Your chest shouldn't actually breathe at rest. You know, when you're walking, exercising, running, that's when you bring in the accessory muscles of inspiration and expiration, because you need to lift the rib cage, get that extra inhalation and extra exhalation. That's how the body works. So if you're at rest and you're in bed and you put your hands in your stomach and you breathe and your chest is moving, you're actually breathing invertedly. And the problem with this is we normally breathe about 20,000 times a day, on average. When you breathe invertedly, mean the chest breathes and the belly doesn't. The problem with that is you're actually breathing 40,000 times a day because those muscles are not meant to be starting pitchers in the baseball game. They're actually relief pitchers. And the problem with that is they have to work extra hard to lift the ribs over and over again so you can actually get air in the body. And the problem with that is because they're not designed to do that, you actually overuse them, they become hypertonic, and you develop trigger points in them. That's the body's way of kind of laying down adhesions, trigger points along the line of stress or elongation or overuse. And the body does this to protect itself. So the problem with this is you're always going to the massage therapist. What's the first place you want to get massage? Oh, massage my shoulders, massage my neck. Feels better. You go back in. Where can I work on you today? Same exact thing. So the problem you have to think about is it really the shoulders, the neck? Is that really the problem? Or you're actually breathing improperly because of an anxiety issue, a food intolerance, which we see the most common, to dairy. Dehydration is another issue. Most people have respiratory problems. Always sitting at a computer and the head is dropping. Most people that have forward head posture, research has shown, they did this on monkeys, that the second they block their nose, I think it was in 5 to 10 seconds, the second they block their nose, the head dropped forward. You see all these trainers out there trying to fix people with forward head posture. You see all these massage therapists massaging your shoulders to get rid of trigger points, and chiropractors manipulating your neck to get rid of neck pain. But the question is that really the problem? Or is respiration, or an issue with respiration, driving that issue? So inhalation is coupled with actually external rotation of the arms, abduction of the arms, extension of the spine and thoracic spine, on and on. It's full opening up of the body. And exhalation is actually coupled with internal rotation, adduction, and flexion of the entire body, or flexion of the thoracic spine. So when you work out, if you're working out under light loads, which most people do nowadays, and they're not working on under heavy loads, you actually should, every time you extend, you inhale, and every time you flex, you inhale. We'll go into that in a little bit. We'll meet you in the gym. But if you have a breathing pattern disorder, there's a problem with that. You actually hyperventilate if you're breathing 1,000 times a day instead of 20. What happens with that is you actually get respiratory alkalosis. And what that means in a simplified terms is you actually get decreased carbon dioxide and increased pH in the respiratory system. That increased pH actually lowers growth hormone and testosterone, and you're trying to work out. It actually causes decreased oxygenation to the tissues, and we'll talk about that. It can increase anxiety and apprehension. It actually heightens pain reception in the body, causes smooth muscle constriction, increases excitability of the cortical spinal system, which actually activates your sympathetic stress response in your body. It speeds up spinal reflexes and changes the serum or blood concentration of calcium and magnesium. So there's a problem with this, because the bottom line is, and we'll kind of correlate this to pain, when this happens, when you get hyperventilation, the decreased CO2 and the increased pH, the smooth muscles in the body, like the disc, the smooth muscle cells, I should say, in the connective tissue, like the lumbar discs and the fascia, what happens is they constrict during respiratory alkalosis. When you get that constriction, you can do all the myofascial stretching you want. You can do all the foam rolling stretching you want. You can work with the best stretcher, massage therapist you want, and it's not going to work. At the same time, you need to be hydrated for the fascia to release, and most people are dehydrated. So you can see you actually have to work on a respiratory issue to actually fix many different areas in the body, like pain, neck pain, low back pain, headaches, forward head posture, thoracic kyphosis, having this position, being locked in this position. At the same time, when you breathe invertedly, you're not pumping the organs. Respiration actually helps to pump cerebral spinal fluid through the spine to bathe it and remove toxins. It's nourishment for the spinal cord and the brain. It actually helps to pump the GI system. Every time you breathe, it pumps the liver, pumps the spleen, pumps the GI system, the pelvic floor, your organs, to help with peristalsis, which is movement of feces and food, but also in digestion, to help with the fluids in that system, and then the motility of the organs. So if you're not breathing correctly and you're breathing invertedly, those organs become static and stasis, which can lead to toxicity, pain, you name it. And the most common thing we see with people is liver stagnation and constipation. So, hopefully you've learned something from this YouTube clip, all the little mishmashes of respiration.